Hello, you're watching TelecomTV. We are here at the OpenStack Summit 2016 in Barcelona in Spain, and I have two guests with me for this slot, both of whom are from Nokia. On my right is Ifat Afek, who is PTL, which means what, Ifat?
Project Technical Lead.
Project Technical Leader, and she's Systems Architect, CBIS, CloudBand Applications and Analytics at Nokia. Welcome, and good to see you again. Next to you is a guy I'm getting to know quite well, Elisha Rosensweig, who is Director R&D, CBIS, CloudBand Applications and Analytics, also at Nokia. Let's get into the discussion. We're looking at Nokia's Vitrage project. To me, as a Brit, Vitrage means a window, an opening, glass that you can see into something else, something that's transparent. So, starting with you, Ifat, I take it that's what Vitrage is in terms of its concept. So, how did the project start? What are the goals then, and how do you initiate it?
Okay, so like you said, Vitrage is a window made of small pieces of glass, and then when you look from far away, you see how these pieces make a nice picture. The purpose of Vitrage is to provide root cause analysis for the cloud operator. We used to have root cause analysis solution as part of Nokia product at CloudBand, and we notified that there was no similar thing in OpenStack. So we initiated the project exactly 1 year ago. We went to OpenStack Mitaka Summit, and we came with like a lot of diagrams and presentations and like nice ideas, and we found the relevant people to talk to, and they told us that indeed there is nothing similar, and they gave us their blessing to start a new project. So right after, in last November, we started the Vitrage project, which wasn't so easy to get into OpenStack and start working by the rules, and we started by writing blueprints and designs, and then implementation. We had a lot of people working together, like 10 people writing code, so quite fast we had a working solution. And 6 months after we started, we became an official OpenStack project, which is a very big achievement. It happened very fast. And now Vitrage is a product.
It's there, it's out there, it's being used.
Yeah, it's being used, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I think you can see also how, like, what Ifat said about us getting in there very quickly. It goes to show you how if you both have a good product, a good idea, and you also work by the guidelines within OpenStack, you play by the rules, you can really, get in very quickly and, link up very fast with all the relevant parties.
Good stuff. Okay, I'm going to stay with you, Elisha. Again, for me as a Brit, you either have root canal work, I guess everybody has that, or when people say things like, the root cause, the base cause of all this is such and such. You talk a lot in Vitrage about root cause analysis. What is that, and what are its implications for OpenStack and for Nokia?
So root cause analysis is a procedure that takes place manually in many, many companies when they have problems. If an event occurs, the experts in that field will go and start to look and see what happened and figure out how to make sure it doesn't happen again. So it really has like a long history of just a manual work. And what we're trying to do in Vitrage is automate that and make it happen in the cloud, as part of the cloud, as an OpenStack project. The idea being that as OpenStack grows and as we have bigger and bigger deployments, so these systems will become more complex, and finding out what the problem is going to become more difficult. And you may get there, but by the time you get there, it will take hours, and your customers will already have had to deal with things in a different way, or just moved on to a different provider. So the point is to make it automated and fast. Our first step right now is to do what we call automated expert judgment, which is taking the manual procedures that people already know how to do, but putting all that data, all that knowledge into the system, and then just automating the process of the analysis. So instead of taking hours, it will take you milliseconds to have the information. And we're looking forward, we're looking at automating the actual process of learning these, doing the actual analysis, like what the experts now have, which is the understanding of the system, gaining that also in a more romantic fashion.
So what triggers root cause analysis? Is it an alarm on the system? What makes it go?
So actually in Vitrage, any event in the system that Vitrage monitors is a reason to sort of stop and think as far as Vitrage is concerned and say, does this mean anything? Did this change affect something or have any impact? Only if it matches sort of the expert information that we've collected and integrated into Vitrage initially, we'll actually do the deeper analysis. But anything is a trigger because we never know what's going to be the next cause of a problem, right? So any event can, in principle, trigger the process.
Okay, thank you. Ifat, going back to what we were talking before, as the concept of Vitrage was developed, what hurdles did you encounter along the way? Were there any unexpected difficulties and problems? And what did you find remarkably easy given the circumstances?
Working with OpenStack as a newbie is not easy. I think the hurdles were most of them in the beginning when we didn't know how to create the environment and how to push the code and all these technical issues. Once we got used to it, it was made much easier.
So it was a smooth process?
Not very smooth, but yeah, much smoother. I mean, the biggest problems were getting started.
But a few bumps along the way, but generally smooth?
Yeah, generally.
Good. Now you say that Vitrage is out there now. Tell me about the achievements of the projects to date. Where are you with it?
We achieved all our initial goals. I mean, the goal was to have really a smart root cause analysis service that collects data from different sources and knows how to produce the insights about the system, and we are there. I mean, we have a project that is stable, is up and running, and it is used in Nokia commercial products. We have next goals. I mean, we have a very long roadmap of things that we want to improve, obviously, and the goal is, I think, to make Vitrage something that every cloud operator wants to have in his cloud. Something that it's clear that it helps you manage the cloud and manage the faults of the cloud.
Good. Back to Elisha. What's the future for root cause analysis as you see it and fault management within OpenStack itself, looking from the Vitrage project perspective?
And that's a very good question. Seeing the future is, in a sense, part of what Vitrage may also want to do eventually. Root cause analysis, which is looking at the past and saying what caused my problems, is only the beginning. Once you understand that your problems were caused by, let's say, problem X, next time you see problem X, you're going to predict that the problems you saw before are going to happen again. And so the flip side of root cause analysis is prediction. They're actually exactly the same, only reversing time in terms of the sequence of events. So one of the things that we want to look at, eventually, are things like prediction. The other issue is, being able to deal with things that happen over larger courses of time, more complex sequences of events. Sometimes it's not going to be, event A caused event B. It's going to be event A happened, and then, a few seconds later, event B happened, and only that combination specifically, causes a problem C. So, if you think of real life, you see how complex sometimes, things can be, and we're going to try and track, specifically the needs of the industry. What are the problems that the industry faces a lot of times? What are the things that actually cause trouble in their systems, and tailor the root cause analysis capabilities to those needs.
So, would you say, in effect, as far as predicting things are concerned, this is a sort of almost a butterfly effect problem? You have a tiny instance here, a tiny fault there, something, and it builds to become something massive, and the earlier you can diagnose that, and the more quickly you can diagnose that, you prevent the problem from becoming bigger and bigger.
So yeah, I mean, some problems indeed are very clear cut. You have one problem and it immediately causes the system to shut down or something. But yes, the more interesting situations, which of course we'd like as much as possible to reach down the road, are situations where you can predict, way in advance the problem and allow the operators to, take proactive action instead of just reactive action.
Is there anything that you've learned so far that shows you unexpected challenges that crop up when you're determining an RCA, root cause analysis, when you've got a fault in the network? Can it be obscured by something else? Is the window clouded in any way?
You know, Vitrage is an engine, like the algorithmic engine is there. You know, of course we can promote it, but what it really needs in order to thrive is a good set of data, is to have as much information as possible. And one of the things that we're trying to achieve is to have, to get that clarity, to get that window into the system, is more and more data, what we call data sources, that get plugged into Vitrage and give it a full view of the system. So, the thing that will cloud us is if we don't have good enough monitoring, good enough data to work on. I'll add, just as an example also, that sometimes there are some conceptual questions that even, that I think are way in the future. What is the right layer to look at a cloud, right? To give an analogy, if you think about, a physicist, a chemist, and a biologist looking at a cell, they each see different things. They're each looking at the same information, but on different layers. What is the real layer? What is the right layer to look at NFV, to look at cloud in general? Those are big questions, and Vitrage is going to have to sort of be part of that answer.
And it's an interesting problem to have to solve, after all.
Yeah.
A sort of 3D approach to things.
Exactly, right.
How important is the OpenStack open source community in the project? What have you learned about these kind of community projects that would help people looking to start a new project today? You've done it from the sharp end. What's it been like?
If you want to be a part of OpenStack, then the community part is crucial. We are in Vitrage. We started in Nokia, but we are collaborating with other OpenStack projects and with OPNFV projects. And this is very important, and we are making efforts to attract more contributors and more companies to join us.
One of the things that's very evident from the trends in the industry at the moment, particularly around NFV and telco, carrier grade NFV and so on, is the fact that many companies are working in collaboration and partnership that didn't do so before. But because of the number of people, the number of organizations that are part of OpenStack, does that body, OpenStack itself, act as a sort of clearinghouse, an honest broker, a central point through which the information passes to other members of the ecosystem? Is that what you found in Nokia when you had been doing Vitrage and developing Vitrage? Is that what happened? What I'm trying to get at is how central was OpenStack to the entire process?
Well, OpenStack is like the framework in which we are working, but every project has like the 3-4 major companies contributing to it, so it really varies between different projects. It's not like that all of the ecosystem is always involved. Depends what's the focus of your project.
Good.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that makes something like OpenStack actually work is that it doesn't have a single point of failure or a single place you have to move through. So the fact that we could actually just interact with the projects that we wanted and didn't have to involve the OpenStack Foundation directly is what makes it possible for us to operate quickly.
Interesting stuff. Thank you both very much indeed. Ifat, Afek and Elisha Rosensweig, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.